2014 City Commission meeting will come to order. Madam City Manager.
For those who care to do so, please stand and join me in the invocation. Dear God, we thank you for the ability to convene and handle the business of our city. As we approach Father's Day weekend, we pause to give thanks for the men in our community and around the world who proudly share in the important duties of parenting. Children are our future. We ask that you continue to bless them with all good things and keep them safe. Bless all who are assembled here this evening, and may all matters that are deliberated be guided in your infinite wisdom and plan. In your name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Madam City Manager, are there any agenda modifications that we need to consider?
Mr. Mayor, we have a couple of additions to the agenda. Items 13.06, approval of the Florida Commission for the Transportation Disadvantaged Trip and Equipment fiscal year 2014 and 2015 grant submission. Has been added. That's item number 13.06. Item number 14.02, quality of life target issue update, has also been added. You did receive additional information since the agenda was originally put out, so you do have some additional information.
On that?
Okay. Also pulled from consent is item number 9.08, and that's the item providing authorization to execute the contract for the contract extension for the Neighborhood Reach Field Implementation Services, and that item was pulled by Commissioner Miller.
Pulled for discussion.
Pulled for discussion. And then we had one item that was on consent. I'm sorry, that was on policy that was moved to consent, right. And that was approval of property damage claim settlement. All and right. That was item number 9.11.
My assumption is that nobody wants to pull that back. Okay. Before we begin, I got to introduce somebody. As you know, I have one person to leave, well, two people to leave me, but I got another replacement, and that is Dominic Artis. Dominic, will you please stand in the back? He's one of my aides now, so if you have anything you want me to do, you contact Dominic. Okay? All right. Faith Clark, Neil James, Buford Madden, Cheryl Reagans, Neil Rambana, and two of his daughters. Come on, Paloma, and please. I've known these two young ladies for quite a while. Hi, Miss Paloma. Yeah. How you doing? And I think it's somebody else, Wynette Rogers. You here, Wynette? All right, thank you. Wow. Today I have a proclamation related to National Caribbean American Heritage Month. Whereas this year marks the 8th anniversary since President George W. Bush proclaimed June as National Caribbean American Heritage Month. Whereas during this time, we celebrate the triumphs and contributions of Caribbean Americans to our nation's culture and history, and recognize the relationship the United States maintains with the Caribbean nations. Whereas many Caribbean Americans have influenced our nation's history, their traditions and cultures have shaped our identity, enriched diversity, and strengthened our local fabrics. Whereas generations of Caribbean immigrants and their descendants have made Florida their home and have prepared their rich cultural heritage that is now part of our state's history. Whereas Caribbean Americans have contributed to Tallahassee's diversity, culture, economic development through their careers in science, education, law, state government, and business. Whereas the Caribbean American Heritage Council of Tallahassee will recognize the contributions of Caribbean Americans to our nation and honor local leaders such as Neil James, Uford Madden, Cheryl Reagans, Neil Rambana, and his daughters, and Wynette Rogers for their service. Now, therefore, I, John R. Marks III, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Tallahassee, officially proclaim June 2014 as National Caribbean American Heritage Month in the city of Tallahassee, and ask our citizens to participate in the activities related to National Caribbean American Heritage Month. Thank you so much. You receive it? Can I stand on the stand?
Mayor, City Manager, City Attorney, Commissioners, it is with great pleasure that I accept this proclamation on behalf of the Caribbean American community in recognition of Caribbean American History and Heritage Month. Thank you for recognizing the contributions that the Caribbean community have brought to the United States and recognizing that we all are part of a nation of immigrants. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I have somewhat of a close Caribbean connection because my wonderful daughter-in-law is of Puerto Rican descent, and I feel that in the house whenever my granddaughter is there all the time. So I want to make sure that we celebrate this month as we should. Thank you. All right. This is a great day for the city of Tallahassee. Once again, we have been recognized, once again, as the #1 public utility, and we continue to lead because of our commitment to excellence. We are recognizing multiple awards for our underground utilities team tonight. We're honored to have several distinguished guests with us, so I'd like to invite Renetta Marshall, Vice President of the Florida Water Environmental Association, to come to the podium. And with Mike Tadros and his entire award-winning underground utilities team come up as well. Please come forward. This is a team, a real team. Okay? Now, Renetta Marshall, are you going to speak about the awards? Where's she? Right here.
Yeah. Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be here this afternoon. My name is Renetta Marshall. I'm representing the Florida Water Environment Association, and I'm here today to present 2 awards. The first award is the Earl B. Phelps Award, and this is one of our most prestigious awards. It was established in 1964, and it honors outstanding wastewater treatment plants in Florida. And the field of competition is over 2,000 plants, so that's how prestigious this is. It recognizes those entities, those plants that have maintained the highest removal of major pollution-causing constituents prior to discharging to the treated effluent to the receiving water. There are 3 categories: advanced wastewater treatment plants, advanced secondary, and then secondary. So today I'm here to recognize in the Advanced Wastewater Treatment Plant category the Thomas P. Smith Water Reclamation Facility and all the team members that made this award possible. Congratulations to you.
I want to say a few words before Mike comes up. This plant is really state of the art. And he may say something about this too, but we have to recognize that at one point in time, the city of Tallahassee was being accused of, directing pollutants to our springs. And I recall this commission, and I said that if we are indeed a part of that problem, we will be a part of the solution. And this plant was a part of that solution, and it is state of the art. It is one of the best, and the best in the nation. And Mike Tadros' team and those who built that plant, they really truly deserve your recognition for what they have done for us, for the city of Tallahassee, what they have done for the North Florida in preserving the Wakulla Springs and the other springs in our area. So this is more than welcome, and it's something that we really, really cherish. So thank you very much. Thank you so much for that. Another award.
I'm back. Yes, I have the pleasure, and may I say the honor and the privilege to present this second award. I drove from Jacksonville to do this, and I would have driven from Miami. I would have driven from another state to give this award. This award is a service award, and this is being presented to Joe Cheatham. Joe has been a member of the Florida Water Environment Association since 1982, 32 years. He has served in many capacities while he has been a board member. He's been chair of Utility Management Committee, Operations Council chair, most recently the treasurer and secretary. And the most recent position that Joe agreed to serve as was as our president. But due to different reasons, health reasons primarily, he had to step down. When I came to Florida in 1999, Joe Cheatham was one of the first people that I met in this profession. And he has continued to epitomize a water professional. He has continued to epitomize dedication to the profession, integrity, always someone that you could count on. And so, not just my pleasure, but again, my privilege to present this most well-deserved award, service award, for 32 years in the Florida Water Environment Association to Mr. Joseph Cheatham.
Joe, thank you so much. Really, I don't know. I know the commission, and I know the staff, and I know the appointed officials would take the opportunity to recognize you. I am glad that you all have recognized Joe for his wonderful and outstanding work for the citizens of the city of Tallahassee, and we couldn't be more proud. You are the best. You're the best of the best, and we have you in Tallahassee, and that says a lot. It says a lot about this department and everything that we're doing. Again, thank you. Thank you for your service. Again. I think I have something else. John Piano, Dion Geiger, President and Executive Director of the Florida Sterling Council. You want these folks to stay up here too? Yes, sir. All right. Well, they've got some things to say too about this group. Please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Marks, commissioners, all the guests that are here, thank you for this opportunity. And I'm especially proud to recognize this team because I'm a citizen of this city. I was here, and I drink your water.
Best drinking water in the world.
Yes, sir.
I'm not saying that. That's true.
I have, last year I was here to recognize, join the mayor in recognizing the team for a team showcase award that they won last year, and they participated in that again this year, and the competition was absolutely severe. Of the 6 teams from around the state that participated, probably a half point separated all of them, but they were competitive, and we were really proud of what they were able to do. Thank you for that one. But I don't know if probably a lot of you already know what the Sterling Challenge is. It's the management system based on the Baldrige Sterling Management System, which is an international system in how you do business. It's an international method in how you achieve performance excellence. The Sterling Challenge for us in Florida is the 2nd level. The next level is the Governor Sterling Award, and that gets national recognition along with this. But I'd like to read for you what was said at our banquet on the 31st. And we started just like we wanted to. We recognized them for some really outstanding processes they had in place. And after the team completed a week here, we had more than we needed in outstanding processes, but we picked one, and I'll talk about that for a second. The City of Tallahassee Underground Utilities, with 376 employees, is one of the largest departments in the City of Tallahassee. It was formed in 2008 by merging 4 separate city-owned utility systems and services via underground pipes and shared customer base. The department manages potable water, wastewater collection, treatment, and reuse, natural gas, and stormwater. Underground Utilities has developed an internet-based repository that enables key organizational knowledge and information to be accessible to the workforce. This portal enhances the organization's strong communications methods and contributes to the strong team environment. Through the portal, employees can access multiple mapped processes, standard operating procedures, the trends and issues reports. Departments can also monitor their budget usage, performance dashboards, status of current process, and best practices. With the availability of this data, productivity has increased initiating friendly competition among employees and have viewed each other as equal in the workforce, striving for better results. Finally, the portal is used to recognize employees for their accomplishments and to welcome new hires and introduce them to the rest of the workforce. Dion?
The team of examiners that were here recognized the city for a couple of best practices. That's the one we chose to recognize at the banquet because there were just so many we could have recognized them for, including their onboarding process, as well as just their whole environment they have for leadership and really driving that culture of continuous improvement. But one of the things I would like to share with you, when we're doing this challenge process, it's not about getting the Governor Sterling Award at this juncture. It's about that journey to excellence. But I can tell you, in looking at their scores and looking at their approach, and they had a very high-performing team that assessed them, they were the highest challenge organization receiving scores that we've ever had. They are a very good organization, and we were very proud of them, not only for their accomplishment, but what they're striving to achieve, and that is to be the best underground utilities in the country, not only the state, but in the country. And we want to recognize them for their accomplishment, but also recognize them for the journey they're making to really be the best in the city and the best in the state, which we will hopefully be recognizing them soon, very, very soon for, as well as a role model for the country, because they are that very thing. They are a role model for the city of Tallahassee and the state already with what they're doing. So we want to acknowledge Mike and his team and just really want to encourage them to continue on their journey and continue to be the best, because they really do strive for that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Gave them a plaque basically from the Florida Sterling Council, recognizes the City of Tallahassee Underground Utilities for their challenge on May 30th, 2014. And again, we look forward to having them back next year, getting another recognition. team back again. They were there last year. Like I said, they were the state champions this year. They were a very good, high-performing team. And as John said, it was a very close competition. But what they did and what they excelled at was sharing their lessons with other people. What they learned, they were able to share that so other people could replicate their best practices. So we recognized the team not only for being there and competing, but for sharing those lessons learned. And that was for the team. That was for the Underground Utilities PI team, or the pie team. I know they shared pies with us as well when they were there.
One more. All right, let me get my script here. Finally, I'd like to recognize Michelle Hill. Michelle? I want to recognize Michelle for being number one. At a recent Tallahassee ceremony, she was named the 2014 Administrative Professional of the Year for her remarkable professionalism and service to our community. And we have an award. You got it? Oh. They just give me the script. Well, Michelle, we want to take this opportunity to congratulate you as well for being the 2014 Administrative Professional of the Year. What a phenomenal achievement by you, and we really, really, really want to take this opportunity to recognize her as well. Both of these individuals, but let's recognize Michelle right now for the wonderful job she is doing for the city. Okay. Now there's a proclamation. Am I on target now? Thank you. All right. Mike, thanks for coming in here with your team. And I'm going to read this proclamation. Whereas the mission of the City of Tallahassee is to provide excellent service and facilities to support a high quality of life in our community. And whereas the city has been named the #1 public utility in America and provides the highest level of service to more than 250,000 residents each year. Whereas the Thomas P. Smith Water Reclamation Facility received the prestigious 2014 Earl B. Phelps Award from the Florida Water Environmental Association for the best operated and maintained plant in the state of Florida in the advanced wastewater treatment category. Whereas Underground Utilities was recognized as the 2014 Florida Governor Sterling Annual Conference for its continuous process improvement and for winning the Distinguished People's Choice Award for lessons learned in a rigorous team competition judged by Sterling Council examiners and statewide leaders. Whereas the department received the highest scores ever achieved in this process and was specifically praised for its leadership, exemplary practices, integration of Sterling approach for processes and process improvement to achieve the highest level of efficiency and customer service. And whereas wastewater treatment operations manager Joe Cheatham has received the FWEA 2014 award in recognition of his leadership, volunteer hours, and outstanding service to the Florida Water Environmental Association in supporting efforts to strengthen and protect our environment. And whereas Michelle Hill, Administrative Assistant to the Underground Utilities General Manager Mike Tadros, was named the local 2014 Administrative Professional of the Year for her remarkable service as a mentor, leader, community service advocate, key administrator for 7 division directors, and overall operations throughout the department. Wow. That's a lot. And whereas Michelle earned a reputation for integrity and professionalism as she embodies the department's motto of setting the standards for excellence and enables Underground Utilities to achieve many notable honors, including the United Way's Chairman Award for 3 consecutive years of increased giving. Now, therefore, I, John R. Marks III, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Tallahassee, do hereby commend the Underground Utilities for its dedicated award-winning team and its long-standing role as an esteemed nationwide front-runner in this industry. And they deserve every bit of your applause and ovation, please. These folks deserve it.
Mayor, Commissioner, Madam Manager, elected officials, it's a great honor to receive those awards today. I want to congratulate the recipients. I want to thank all the underground utility employees, 361 men and women that work day in, day out to reach this excellence. I want to thank our guest, Renee Marshall with the Florida Water Environmental Association, John Piano with the Florida Sterling Council, and Deanne Geiger. And in closing, Mr. Mayor, Commissioner, we won't be able to reach this level of excellence without your continuous support. With the managers, the elected official, and the executive team, your continuous support on a daily basis, that's what gets us to that level. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm supposed to give out some more. No, those are next. This is next. Are these guys wonderful? I mean, you know, they're the best in the nation, and that's our underground utilities. Our electric utility was named the best in the nation, too. The best public electric utility in the nation. So, you know, we have the best, and we provide the best service, and we will continue to provide the best service to our citizens. And I hope that those of you who are looking at this and those of you in the audience recognize that these are dedicated employees, dedicated to the city of Tallahassee, dedicated to being the best, and they have done a wonderful job. So thank you all again. As they file out, we want to make sure that we recognize them. Thank you all so very much. Will Lieutenant Rusty Roberts, along with Chief Bill Eckwall and Chief Eugene Saunders, please come to the podium. All you guys, come on. All right. This is a proclamation really recognizing, again, some outstanding work by our employees here at the city of Tallahassee. And these are the men that are really on the front line. These are our responders. These are our first responders. These are men and women who really we have to appreciate, in addition to all the other employees here. Whereas Rusty Roberts began his fire career in 1989 with the Tallahassee Fire Department, rising through the ranks to his current position as lieutenant in the training department as an air resource officer. Whereas working in conjunction with the Tallahassee and Jacksonville Fire Departments, Rusty Roberts developed Camp Amigo, a week-long summer camp for children who are burn survivors, helping them to understand that they are not alone in their experience. Whereas during his 25 years of service, Rusty Roberts has been involved in a number of fire service events, including forestry firefighting in Central Florida and participation in the extrication team in international firefighting competition from 2001 through 2007. And whereas Rusty Roberts holds several certifications including hazmat instructor, live fire instructor, arson investigator, fire school instructor at the Tallahassee Community College, and is a member of the Urban Search and Rescue team. And whereas Rusty Roberts' passion for community service is evident by his dedication to Tallahassee and the surrounding communities as Muscular Dystrophy Association camp counselor, a member of the Burn Center at Shands, coordinator for the United Way, and also through his service as a member of the Board of Directors for Guardians of the Ribbon here in Tallahassee, the Tallahassee chapter, whereas currently Rusty Roberts is the District 12 Burn Coordinator for the International Association of Firefighters, supporting the IAFF in burn prevention, fire safety, burn care, and survivor support activities. And whereas throughout his remarkable career, Rusty Roberts has demonstrated exceptional leadership qualities, solid judgment, and steadfast commitment to fire service. And whereas the city of Tallahassee and its citizens deeply appreciate the selfless service Lieutenant Rusty Roberts continuously provided through his career. Now, therefore, I, John R. Marshall III, by the power invested in me as mayor of the city of Tallahassee, do hereby recognize, honor, and congratulate Rusty Roberts as the 2013 Florida Firefighter of the Year. Rusty Roberts.
humbled for this award. There's so many firefighters from not only our department, but throughout the state that are dedicated to their community and want to make it safer for all in the community and who come to visit our communities. So I accept this award on their behalf, and also I would like to invite all the commissioners, Madam Manager, to come and visit us again at Camp Amigo. She came about a decade ago, and I would love to have y'all come and visit again.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, as Nathan Valentine. Well, I think that's all, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Where's Nathan?
Mr. Mayor, Maisha Mitchell is here, I think, to represent Nathan and their team.
Okay. As Nathan, he's in Washington, D.C. Nation, well, you all come up. All of you all come up, because it will take all of you all to represent Nathan. Maisha Mitchell, Tallahassee Food Network Coordinator in Quasima, Boston, TFN President and co-founder of will you all please? Yeah, all of y'all need to come in here and for Nathan. Does everybody know who Nathan is? He's commonly called the man in overalls, and he truly is the man in overalls. But he is apparently, is he receiving another award or something in Washington?
Yes, he is.
He's received. You're going to tell us about it. Okay. Whereas Nathan Valentine, also known as Man in Overalls, is a co-founder of the Tallahassee Food Network and volunteer coordinator of I Grow Whatever You Like, Tallahassee Food Network's Youth Empowerment and Urban Agriculture Program at the Dunn Street Youth Farm in the Frenchtown community. And whereas Nathan and TFN initially worked across lines of division such as race, neighborhoods, or socioeconomic status to grow community-based food systems that work for everyone. Whereas Nathan received the high honor of the 2014 Jefferson Award for Public Service at the Tallahassee Democrat, the 2014 Volunteers of the Year, and he received that award, and will represent his hometown along with other TFN delegates at the Jefferson Awards for Public Service Banquet in Washington, D.C. That's where he is. Okay. Whereas Nathan is recognized as an outstanding representative of the efforts of many dedicated individuals working for local and farm-to-table initiatives in the city of Tallahassee. Now, therefore, I, John R. Marks III, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Tallahassee, do hereby honor Nathan Valentine, the man in overalls, for his excellent service and leadership to the youth and community, and his part in making Tallahassee really, truly the great place that it is. Nathan Valentine, he's really great.
Hari and Sundiati, it takes all of us here to do the work that Nathan has done. We want to tell you he's been a great asset to our community. He's traveling now with his new bride. They'll be traveling around the world and coming back and forth to Tallahassee over the next year. He will be receiving his Jefferson Award in Washington, D.C., along with 2 other members of the Agro team. And we're very happy that they were able to get to Washington. And I see some of the other members in the back. Chef Shaq, come on, stand up, please. It's all our team. So I want to say thank you all for your support over the past year or so, and the kinds of things that you've done to make sure that the Tallahassee Food Network continues to move forward in our work. We invite you all to come to our farm. We invite you to learn how to grow food, because this year we're on a mission, a mad mission, that everybody can learn how to grow their own food. This is going to be one of the greatest years you've seen in Tallahassee with regard to food growth and development and healthier communities. This is Bakari. He's going to be taking Nathan's position as the...
He's going to have overalls.
Yeah, he needs overalls, right? And a bow tie. He's a bow tie guy. And Sundiati helping with the team. And this is our grow team here. They really are doing fantastic work. And there's others who are not here and are traveling to Washington. So I can't tell you all how great this has been, and we're watching them grow. We're growing farmers, we're growing young people, and we're growing markets across Tallahassee and throughout the state. So we've had invitations to go all over. These young people are training, they are leadership, and they know how to do it. So if you need a garden at your home or in your community, just call iGrow, whatever you like. Visit us on the website. Okay?
Visit you on Dunn Street, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely on Dunn Street.
Visit them on Dunn Street. If you haven't been there yet, it is a remarkable, remarkable place. What they're doing out there is just fantastic. They got the best collard greens, don't you?
Kale,
collard greens. Oh, they got it. They really do. And are you taking it to the farmer's market, or are you selling it right?
No, we're selling at farmer's market. Yes.
Okay, they're selling it
at
Saturday mornings at the farmer's market. It truly is a remarkable thing. And they're so good, they were good enough that we received a $40,000 grant from Miracle Grow. That's going to last, I think, 3 years.
3 years.
A 3-year grant from Miracle Grow, and a lot of in-kind things from Miracle Grow as well. So this is the kind of urban planning. Commissioner, where's Commissioner Miller? Commissioner Miller was very instrumental in making things like this happen. So we want to thank you, Commissioner. You got a few words?
I just want to... Don't clap for me. You guys did all the work. I have known Nathan since literally before he was born, and have watched him grow up and then go to college and come back to the community. And was just really excited to the point where last year, my aide and I decided that next year we were nominating him for Volunteer of the Year. And you all have all done so much to bring healthy food to folks and to bring that awareness of the fact that we needed food that was grown much closer to home than we normally are able to have. So appreciate all of your work. I appreciate the impetus to get the community garden movement going in Tallahassee. I mean, we've got community gardens in neighborhoods all over from one end of the city to the other. And just very appreciative of what you all have all done together as a team.
Can I say one? I just want to have one of our young people come up, because we always like to give our youth the leadership roles. She wants to say something, if that's okay. Because we are growing young people. Our farmers are aging, and they're aging out, so we have to have young people in the mix. So.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Amora Yannick Toussaint L, and I'm here with the iGrow team. And I just want to say some things about iGrow. So iGrow was really great. I love it there. I learned a lot of things like planting, composting, harvesting, and how to assist people and do business. iGrow will make a big change in Tallahassee, maybe all over the world. And if we work together, we will succeed. We will succeed because of all the hard work we put in. I know my family and I are new at iGrow, but it feels like we've been here forever. Because of the connection we have with the youth at the farm and the connection we have with Nathan, Sunyata, Kristen, and Tom, Nathan's father. We have done some gardening and planting in the past. We grew tomatoes, beans, strawberries, blueberries, and peas. iGrow taught me how to grow other fruits and vegetables at an expert level. Because I am learning the important things like nitrogen, phosphate, and potassium, which helps make good soil. That could be used for flowers, fruits, or vegetables. I am happy to be part of the iGrow team. There is no I in team, because together we can do amazing things for our community. Thank you.
I'm at Louise Duji Toussaint L. I'm going to just keep it short and sweet. Nathan, when we came to the iGrow, he came with open arms, and he made us feel comfortable. He made us feel like family, and that's all I got to say. Thank you.
All right. These are the kind of neighborhood programs that really assist our youth, and sometimes we have a little bit of a concern with some of our youth, but these individuals are really going to serve our community, serve our state, and serve our nation. So thank you so much for what you all are doing. Keep it up. All right? We appreciate it. Madam City Manager, where are we now?
On number 8, citizen input on agenda items.
We have no speakers for agenda items.
We're
All
on
righty.
consent, Mr. Mayor.
On consent,
One item pulled.
one item pulled. Commissioner Miller.
Sir.
Well, I'll move consent.
Second.
Properly moved and second, except for the matter Commissioner Miller wants. Right. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously. Commissioner Miller.
The item I pulled is in regards to the REACH contract. It's not that I'm very, very excited that we are continuing the REACH program. It's done wonders for the community, and I think it's helped out a whole lot of folks. I believe they've been to 5,000 homes, and my main reason for pulling the item, though, is that I used to own part of this company. I'm very proud to say that. I divested myself as soon as I was elected, but per our new ethics program, I wanted to make sure I got that on the record. I'm going to be voting. I'm going to be voting for this, but I just wanted to make sure that my comments were included about ownership.
Wonderful.
I'll move it.
Second.
Properly moved and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously. That's item 9.08. Thank you. Next item.
The next item is we have 4 introductions of ordinance, and the city attorney will handle those.
Mr. City Attorney.
Item 1201 is introduction of ordinance 14-Z-26, amending the official zoning map to change the zoning classification on property located at the intersection of Ocala Road and Pensacola Street, known as Westwood Plaza, from University Transition Zoning District to the University Village Plan Unit Development Zoning District, and to set the first and only public hearing for Wednesday, July the 9th, 2014 at 6 p.m. Let me read the title of the ordinance. It's, again, ordinance to be introduced, number 14-Z-26, an ordinance of the City of Tallahassee, Florida, designated and including additional territory as an NPUD Plan Unit Development on the official zoning map of the City of Tallahassee and adopted and established by the City Commission. And the public hearing again will be on July the 9th for that. We have a motion to introduce that ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 12-02 is introduction of ordinance 14-0-05. It's the annexation petition of the preserve at Buck Lake. It is scheduled for public hearing also on July the 9th, 2014. It involves annexation of 12.24 acres off Buck Lake Road, northeast of Fall Chase, which is being divided into 32 residential lots to be known as the preserve at Buck Lake. The title of the ordinance 14-0-05 is an ordinance of the City of Tallahassee, Florida, amending Chapter 6 of the Charter of the City of Tallahassee to annex within the corporate area of the City of Tallahassee, Florida. Upon adoption of said ordinance, property being situated in Leon County, Florida, in accordance with the voluntary annexation provisions of Section 171.044 Florida statutes. Again, the first and only public hearing on this annexation petition will be on July the 9th. Have a motion to
Mr.
move
Mayor.
introduction.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I have a business relationship with one of the owners of this, so I'm going to have to abstain.
That's 12.02?
Correct.
You discussed that with the city attorney. And
I did. I typically, when we introduce ordinances, it's not a vote, so.
Right. At this point, you're announcing
I'm just going to
your
abstain.
potential conflict and will not vote.
we're not voting on it at this point in time. We're just introducing it, and at the point we vote on it. Okay. Next item.
Okay. Item number 12.03 is introduction of ordinance 14-0-28, establishing commercial and industrial load control rider electric rate schedule. It's scheduled for public hearing on July the 9th, 2014 also. As should be noted, this ordinance is on the agenda under item number 13.02 for discussion and description of this new rate schedule. At this point, if we could have just a motion to introduce this ordinance.
So moved.
14-0-28, and it is titled An Ordinance of the City of Tallahassee creating Section 21-240 City of Tallahassee Code relating to commercial and industrial load control rider electric rate schedule, set for public hearing also on July the 9th.
All right, it's introduced.
Next, we have item number 12.04. It's introduction of ordinance number 14-0-33, adopting comprehensive plan amendment PCM 140103, cycle 2014-1. It is scheduled for public hearing also on July 9th, 2014. And the specific title of this ordinance, proposed ordinance number 14-0-33, an ordinance of the City of Tallahassee adopting an amendment to the 2030 Tallahassee-Leon County Comp Plan, and it again is set for public hearing on July the 9th, 2014.
It is introduced. I think that takes care of the introduction. Madam City Manager, policy formation and direction.
We're on item 13.01, discussion and approval of 2014 through 2017 Florida State University service agreement with Star Metro. And Commissioners, as the City of Tallahassee and Florida State have enjoyed a long relationship in providing transit services for students, faculty, and as you know, also staff. Recently, Star Metro and utility service staff met with FSU administration to discuss the service and how it could be improved to better meet the needs of the FSU community. This agenda item extends the relationship with a new service agreement and a redesign of the Seminole Express routes. The updated Seminole Express provides increased campus circulation, improved service to the nearby student apartment complexes, and provides access to many more destinations in our city, such as Gaines Street, Cascades Park, and Governor Square Mall. New students at FSU will be able to use the transit to meet many of their needs, obviously resulting in reduced parking demand, congestion, and carbon emissions. Brian Waterman is here with Star Metro to brief you in detail on this contract, and I understand that FSU Police Chief Perry is also here.
Yes, he is. There he is.
Right. All right, Brian.
Good evening, Madam Manager, Mayor, and Commissioners. I enjoy this time to present good news to you guys, talking about our partnerships with Florida State University and our other FAMU and the like. Our relationship began with FSU back in the 1970s. From the start until 2007, service consisted largely of campus circulation. But during this time, many apartment complexes were built a significant distance away from campus along Ocala, High, and Tharp Street. As a result, transportation options were limited to driving to campus and trying to find a parking spot, or riding the city fixed route system, and hopefully you'll be able to transfer with the campus circulation at the time. In 2007, we responded to this by taking the campus circulation off campus, provide direct access from the many of the nearby housing complexes to FSU, providing the one-seat ride from apartment complexes to their front door of their buildings. But this was done at the expense of campus circulation, resulting in overcrowding buses and some degree of confusion. There was success. Ridership did grow. This was a successful thing, but but things have changed. So what has changed? And we met with FSU to talk about what their needs are. And I want to say we had an awesome team going through this thing. And we met with them back in mid-April to move forward with a new agreement to respond to the changing dynamics we're seeing in our community. One, as we know, both current and incoming students are driving less. We know as millennials indicate this. We see a downward trend in VMT. People don't want to bring their cars to campus, and we needed to respond to that. Secondly, we had more housing around campus, and you can see here, these are beds in nearby apartment complexes, the block, the deck, the forum, you name it. There's tons of housing now near campus, not just far away like even now we have, as indicated earlier, we have route confusion and redundancy. We have every route circulating campus, so students don't know if I want to go from campus building A to campus building B, what route do I get on? And then we have this redundancy there, a lot of extra resources being dedicated we can do someplace else. So what is new? What change do we make? Well, the first thing we did is we addressed campus circulation. So now, under the new agreement, starting this fall, with your permission, we'll have a bus coming every 5 minutes on the Renegade route. You imagine that staying in Academic Way, and one bus, one route comes by every 5 minutes to take you from where you need to go, from the stadium to any building on campus. We increase service.
Wait a minute. Every 5 minutes, the bus will be there.
Every 5 minutes. If you're on campus at a campus bus stop, yes, a bus should come by every 5 minutes to take you where you need to go. So if you are an FSU administrator in the Westcott building who wants to go to the University Center for another meeting, hop on the bus. You'd spend less time looking for your riding the bus. We'd be looking for a car. You're looking for your car, parking it, and walking to the building. And it's a great service to have that you have that flexibility of not needing your car once you get on campus, either as a student, faculty, or staff. We've increased service to student housing. By taking advantage of that redundancy and combining routes together, we now have 10-minute service to the Forum and other large developments along Tennessee Street, Pensacola, and the like. The most exciting thing from a planning perspective is we now have access to the rest of the community. Before, we just focused on service on the west side of campus, providing service from the home to school, but never the home to other. Well, now, with the remodifying the Gold Route, we now have service from the campus to Gain Street, to College Town, to Cascades Park, and to Governor Square Mall. Ease of use, simply get done. You just get on at University Center C, you hop on one route, and you travel east. So what we start out with 8 routes to circulate campus, focus on the west side. We now have one route that circulates campus and a route going north, south, east, and west to better meet the needs of the students. Before I get in, I want to just thank the team we worked with. We could have not done this without the FSU staff of Chief Eric Algo, Chief Perry, Al Menendez, Gary Huff, and the like. Utility Services with Reese Goad. My planning team, Charles Main, I have to give him credit. He was a big help in this thing. Ivan Maldonado, our director, and I also have to thank you guys as well for challenging us to always do our best and provide quality service to our customers. And that's what concludes my presentation.
Very good. Questions? Commissioner Miller.
Brian, I wanted to know if this was all day, 5 minutes between buses, or just at rush times? Or?
It's for most of the routes, it's 7A to 7P. With the exception of the Gold Route, it's 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. to reflect the different hours of the Governor Square Mall.
Okay. And then are you going to do some analysis to follow? Do you have plans for follow-up analysis to make sure you've got the times right?
Yes.
And the buses are being used and what the pattern of travel? Okay,
yes, ma'am.
good.
We evaluate this thing from day one, make sure that we are meeting the needs of the customers. We feel we are. We are not. There's no degradation of service. The apartment complexes today that have service will have it tomorrow. We're just rechanging where the routes go, where they intersect, and the destinations they hit. We expect it to be a very big success for the student body.
This sounds like wonderful. I would just want to make sure that as you go forward, you're able to get travel patterns and use patterns and heavy, light use in case you need to modify.
Of course, that's our intent.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
Commissioner?
Thank you, Mayor. One, I want to congratulate you all, the entire team. I think it all sounds really light and almost easy, but I know a couple of years ago when we were having the conversation of integrating the on-campus route, the Renegade route, with that of the larger city route, the interest level in doing that was not as high. But the fact that you are able to integrate the campus with the regular city system will improve service not only for those who are on campus and are trying to get to locations off of campus, but for regular city riders who want to take advantage of the frequency. This deal allows us to, I think, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and I think you all deserve ultimate credit for that. In the agenda item, you talk about the in future years that this will allow for greater integration with our fixed route system. Can you talk a little bit more about what you mean there?
Well, let's talk about the Gold Route in general, which goes to Cascades Park and Governor Square Mall. That mirrors our Tall Timbers route. which the goal of this thing, if this thing works, what we expect it to, is that ideally next year, as part of negotiations, again, the agreement would have the gold route merge with the tall timbers to have that go to a higher frequency. So now you have a city route doing that, now freeing up additional resources to go to take buses to other locations. That over time, we go, instead of having two systems, two different brands, but one system meet the needs of everybody.
And is it still the case for the routes that are now moving and integrating increasingly with the community that your student ID is what works there? What is the new form of identification on this expanded route system?
For the Seminole Express, you just need to board the bus. No identification is required. It's paid for by Florida State University. Of course, for the city routes, you do have to show your ID.
Got it.
Wow. I think it's wonderful. Any other questions? This is great. Thank you, Al.
Move adoption.
Second.
Properly moved and second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously. Next item.
The next item is 13.02, discussion of ordinance number 14-0-28, establishing commercial and industrial load control rider electric rate schedule. And as the city attorney mentioned earlier, the public hearing is scheduled for July 9th. Commissioners, in 2008, the city introduced the Energy Smart Plus projects, and there was a package of programs that included numerous programs to promote energy conservation. These programs include energy rebates, energy loans, and neighborhood reach, among others. To date, our conservation efforts have been very successful. In 2012, the City Commission implemented 2 new pilot programs referred to collectively as the Peak Smart program, which are designed for commercial customers. The pilot period is coming to an end, and based on the experience that we have gained over the last 2 years, staff is recommending making one of the 2 Peak Smart programs permanent. You've introduced the ordinance already earlier, and a public hearing is scheduled for July 9th, but we'd like for Reese to talk about the history of the programs and why we want to recommend one as permanent to you.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, as the manager indicated, we launched our Energy Smart Plus program in 2008. In fact, that is not very long ago, but it seems like a long time. We've done a lot since that time, and our customers really have embraced the concept of conservation. So the discussion tonight is specifically about a commercial program that we piloted and had some experience with, and we're recommending making permanent. But it's one of many programs that we have in our system, and I'd like to take a minute. I can be brief. I'd like to take a minute and just kind of paint the picture of conservation, how it fits into our system, how it fits into our planning mode as we develop our electric grid, as we plan for future generation, and the importance of conservation in the different programs that we have. As you can see on the slide, we have 3 plants that the city of Tallahassee owns. One in out west of town, that's our Hopkins plant. We have one in Wakulla County, that's our Purdom plant. And we also have one that forms Lake Talquin, which is our corn hydro plant. It's one of 2 hydro facilities in the state of Florida. At those 3 plants, we have 12 generators. So we have 12 individual units at the various plants that we have, and they generate 746 megawatts of capacity. But the importance of that is we have to make sure we have enough capacity to serve the needs of our customers plus some. We plan to have more than we need to make sure that we're reliable, and when you flip the switch, the electricity will be there. We produce almost all of our electricity with natural gas, which we're very proud of. It's very clean, it's very efficient, and frankly, we were ahead of the curve as a community to the migration of natural gas. You hear a lot about that today. As older plants are being retired, they're being repurposed to use natural gas. We have a very young fleet of generation. Most of our capacity is less than 10 years old. That is a very unusual thing in this business. Most times you will see plants that are 20, 30, 40 years old that continue to operate. Ours is very young, it's very efficient. I'd like to show this illustration, as you can see on the slide. I mentioned earlier that we have 746 megawatts of capacity. You'll see that in the vertical blue bar on the leftmost portion of the graph. That represents the capacity we have today. And you can see in the solid red line, that represents what we think our peak need is, how much we need. That builds in the contingency I mentioned for the reserve margin. That's the term was used. And you can see it's really flat and if not declining. And in a typical business, that probably wouldn't be a good sign because that's a reflection of how much sales we're going to make. That's the peak need of our system, how much sales we're going to make. And as you know, the direction given by the Commission and the community is that we want to avoid building extra generation, so we must conserve. We must shave that peak demand. You can see illustrated in the dotted red line, in the absence of conservation or demand-side management, which we often refer to as DSM, that we would not nearly have enough generation capacity as we approach the outer years. You'll notice that the blue bars are declining. The reason they're declining is because we will retire older units over time. We have 5 units planned for retirement by the year 2020. And a major milestone we have is the replacement of our Hopkins Unit 1 in 2020 with a much more efficient plant. At the moment, we believe that will be a natural gas plant. So you see a lot happening, but we forecast the ability to meet the needs of our customers without building new plants. And I think that's important to point out, but it's obviously dependent upon the success of our conservation program.
Reese, quick question on that slide. For the additional capacity or overcapacity that you're creating, are we running those units every day now, or how are we making up for what we're over-generating?
We only run them as needed. Any given day, we may only run 2 or 3 units. We look ahead a day and out a week to determine what we believe the load forecast to be. We turn them on as needed. There is a reliability element of it where you may turn it on and it sits more or less idle. It's spinning. The term we would use is spinning, and it's able to meet the demand if the demand grows. As you might imagine, like on a hot day today. In fact, today rain was forecasted. If it doesn't rain, loads up. As soon as it rains, loads down. So we have to make sure that we plan for that contingency. So we will only turn on as many as we need to. 2 or 3, maybe 4. We typically do not operate the entire fleet, but it stands ready to operate as needed.
And in the future, is the plan to have smaller units and maybe more of them, or is the technology such that the efficiency of the unit, even if it's large, you can turn it off and on without wasting?
Commissioner, that's a great question. If we don't need a lot of extra capacity, and as you saw by the graphic of the flat red line, we don't. We would tend to build smaller units that are able to be turned on quicker. Our smallest units can be turned on in 10 minutes and operating. That is very unusual for a power plant. So that means you don't have to have it on running and it be less efficient. Your bigger plants tend to take a day or many, many hours to get ramped up and available to serve load. So what we see right now are smaller, more efficient units in our immediate horizon. You can see this is a 10-year look. As you look out farther, of course, we will evaluate that need, and it may be appropriate to build a bigger plant at some point out in the future.
Reese, are you saying that the red line, the blue bars, that's the supply? Is that capacity? Is that the capacity we have as well?
Yes, sir. That's summer peak available capacity. And as you know, we plan to meet our summer peak demand. And so generators are rated at a winter capacity and a summer capacity. They're lower in the summer because of the ambient temperature.
Okay.
And so this reflects that capacity and what we expect the summer peak demand to be at that time.
So our capacity is decreasing over this period?
Yes, sir. We have 5 of the 12 units that we have available we plan to retire.
Okay.
They're older. They're 1960s vintage plants. As they get to a major milestone in their life, we would need to either maintenance them, bring them up to current air emission standards, and from a business point of view, we want to make sure we make the right decision. We have adequate capacity, so we're able to retire those plants. And then around 2020, we intend to replace, based on the outlook today, replace one of the units. So we'll replace it with a more modern, efficient unit. But we would not need to do that until that time.
Okay, so if I understand this correct, our capacity is decreasing, but we're still going to have enough to meet the demand out until, look like 2023. We're going to need, we're going to have to do something.
That's correct.
At that point. And is that because, will we need that capacity because of growth or obsolescence or what?
Well, as you can see, the flat line includes customer growth. we've been very fortunate as a system and very steady to grow our customer base. We intend for that, or we project rather, for that to continue to happen. So it's unusual that your load or your peak demand would not grow even though you have customer growth. So the reason that's happening, that dynamic, is conservation. Our customers, I'd like to go to the next slide so I can make this point.
Wait a minute, Commissioner Ziffer.
And I'll come back to it, but our customers are embracing conservation, and we feel very confident in that. That's why we're not needing to add that capacity. That's why, I apologize for going back and forth, that's why we can withstand these bars being reduced, and we don't have to make that additional investment in that capacity.
That was the objective. Very good. Commissioner Ziffer.
So if I understand this correctly, the blue bars include a 17% reserve. So we're not actually looking at full use of capacity when we get to 21, 22, and 23.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
So the second question I have regarding forecasting increased demand, is that based upon historical growth in our community, or is that projecting something different?
Both, actually. So we look at history, of course. It's a good lesson. We interview our largest customers, the state of Florida, Florida State University. We work with the economic development part of our community to see what may be happening, any new companies that may be coming to town. So we take a close look on what's happening in the future. We look at what's happened historically, and then we evaluate how much conservation we think we could achieve. So we look at our residential customers, for example, as a large block. That we tend to look at those on a more macro scale, and our largest customers we look at a micro scale, even to the point where we're communicating directly with them, and then we make our best estimate in terms of our forecast. Now, I will tell you that customers are conserving more than we even thought they would. So that's a good thing. We've been more successful than we thought we could be in terms of encouraging customers to participate in these programs, to engage in energy conservation, to adopt habits that result in less energy use. That is our commercial customers as well as our residential customers, our small business customers. It seems to be across the board, and it seems to be very sustainable.
Clearly, though, and if we can, on a regular basis, maybe annually, clearly at 2019 to 2020, if we were to have either a disruption because one of our existing facilities had some downtime, or between now and then we had more growth than we anticipated, we're going to run into some hurting here in 2019 and 2020. So let's watch that carefully, clearly.
That's a great question, Commissioner. We do this analysis every year. So we won't wait. We're going to look every year, and if there are any changes in it, we're going to react. And so the idea being we have plenty of time to react. Because to your point, it takes time to react. You can't simply build a power plant overnight. You can't simply change your system overnight. So we definitely make sure we do this on an annual basis. And this kind of information is submitted to the Florida Public Service Commission as well for their planning of the statewide system and oversight.
Well, Reese, from now until, Commissioner Ziffer, until 2019, over the next 5 years, we apparently have, is that, if I look at this right, pretty much a lot of excess capacity.
Yes, sir. We have plenty of capacity.
Okay. What are we doing with it?
Given the opportunity, we sell it. Almost every single day we sell. We're a net seller.
We are a net seller.
Yes, sir. And it generates profits to the system. So we only sell, of course, if it's beyond our incremental cost. So we look at that very closely, and if there are others in our region, predominantly we sell within our region. We may sell north or south, and to the extent that is economical for us to make those transactions, we sell. Now, of course, if we could buy at a rate less than we produce, we will do that as well. We tend to have the most efficient generation. Our gas price that we have available to us tends to be near the market, which translates to we have the lower cost production, and so we end up being a net seller.
Okay, let's go to the next one. I'm sure it's going to generate some questions. Go ahead.
I won't stay on this slide long. I think we've made the point. The blue bars, you see, I wanted to illustrate what we thought was going to happen in terms of conservation. So in our last rate study in 2012 that was finalized in February of 2013, we made our best estimate of what we thought sales would be. And as we have gone through the full year in 2013 and then through 7 months of this year, what we find is sales are down relative to what we thought they would even be at the time. So that what that tells you is we're ahead of pace. Customers have embraced our programs. They're using the programs. And I'll point out something that was very telling to me. In 2014 so far, we're down 2.3% in sales. And you might say, well, that's not bad, and I agree. That's with one of the colder winters that we've experienced in some time. Mm-hmm. And so what we found is that particular January time frame, sales were closer to what we thought they should be. But in all the other months, sales were down. So we see a consistent pattern of reduction in usage, and it seems very permanent, very sustainable. And Commissioner Ziffer, to your point, we continue to look at these things to make sure there's no trends in the other direction that may change or alter our plans. Another way to look at it, and this is, gives me lots of comfort, that this is a true phenomenon that is here to stay. In this graph, the blue bars represent about an 8-year average of usage on an average residential customer per month. You'll see in the leftmost bar that says 979. That would be 979 kilowatt hours used in October. When we look at 2013 actuals, you'll see that denoted in the green dots connected by the line. You'll see that in every single month, with the exception of November and April, customers use less than the average. Now, what that tells me is that customers are using less, especially when it comes to conditioning, cooling, and heating. That's a real permanent change for our customers. And only in those months where you have very limited cooling and heating, which is really hard to use less in those months because those are the months you use the least, customers are consistently using less. That tells me there's no seasonality. There's no years that may be hotter or colder because I'm comparing it to the average. Customers are consistently using less. Anecdotally, I hear it all the time. It's something we talk about amongst ourselves. We compare notes with our friends and families. And so this is a good illustration that the programs are working. I'll move along a little faster. Yes, sir.
Okay, maybe you're getting into it now. Can you tell us why our customers are using less? What's working to cause them to use less? You know, where is it?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to take all the credit for it. I would like to take all the credit, but I'm not sure that I can. What we found is sometimes certain messages, certain concepts really resonate. Mm-hmm. They grab hold, and people migrate to them, and they exercise them. And that's certainly what's happened. Now, we've facilitated that, of course, in the programs that you as a commission have approved. That's the nature of this slide. We have so many programs. Commissioner Miller mentioned earlier that we have our Neighborhood Reach program, something we're very, very proud of. We've
award-winning.
Yes, sir.
Award-winning Neighborhood Reach program.
That's, and you know, that's boots on the ground, just really hard work every day. We've weatherized over 5,000 homes in that program since it started just a couple years ago. That's a great program. We've done 40,000 energy audits since October of 2007. We've issued 26,000 rebates. So we've facilitated to help customers down this path, this journey to energy conservation, to make it permanent. That's always been a concern of ours, that we don't want customers to use less temporarily, such that there's a rebound effect and we ultimately have to build plants. It's not something that happens in the long run. So what we've seen is customers have made changes in their own lifestyles and the appliances that they have and how they use electricity. That's not only our residential customers, but our commercial customers. And we've facilitated to the best of our ability by offering programs that we believe they find value in and that encourage them to conserve. Double rebates, for example, is a great program that we did in 2010, 2013. Some told me, they said, Reese, you know, you're doing double rebates, and people are just going to get the rebate sooner than they would have otherwise gotten it, but it didn't change their action. Well, I disagree. The numbers tell us that we almost doubled the participation during the double rebate period, but even the year following the double rebate, the numbers were higher than the full previous year. So that tells me there was a top-of-mind awareness of it. There was an engagement. So, Mr. Mayor, I think the answer to your question is our community wants to conserve. We're facilitating to the extent we can, and it's happening.
But we can't tell which of these programs really give us the most conservation or can we?
You know, we do our best to kind of bundle them together.
Okay.
So whether it starts with our energy audit program, where we connect customers to our other programs, they all work together in harmony, if you will, I think, to get to the result. It's very difficult to tell which one did, and I'm not sure we'll ever know that, but we know the results have been achieved.
I was curious about it. The other thing that seems to me that might work a little bit more, the Neighborhood Reach program is an absolutely wonderful program. I mean, what that does is we go into our underserved neighborhoods and we go in and people know we go and retrofit and that kind of thing. And we do the audits. And it has been my experience that when we go out and do audits in our overserved neighborhoods, you can do it, but will they follow through with what you suggest that they're doing? Forget about the underserved neighborhoods. Let's go to the high-end neighborhoods. It's been my experience that you can go and do all the audits in the world, but they don't follow through, or a lot of them don't follow through. And what I would suggest, we need to figure out a way we can do a neighborhood reach, but they have to pay for it. A neighborhood reach to say, okay, this is how you can really implement what we told you would help you serve energy. Now, I know that I can do it because I've been experiencing it. But I would bet you there are a number of well-heeled neighborhoods could use a neighborhood reach type of program where somebody will come in there and do it. We tell them who to go to, but they don't do it. That's my experience, but I don't know how. You follow what I'm saying?
No, sir, I understand it. Actually, I will tell you that we were in Indian Head Acres now, maybe it was a year ago. It's been some time ago. And it was unbelievable, the reception that we received there.
I remember that.
The results, the empirical data tells us that collectively the customers that have taken advantage of the REACH program use less. The last numbers I've seen are about 8%, and that's very meaningful. So I know they are taking advantage of it. They're taking it to heart.
But we're doing it for them, see.
Well, I think we're introducing the idea. There's certain things that we're doing, but I think we're kind of planting the seed. And I feel very confident in this. We're planting the seed, and customers are saying, because at the end of the day, let's face it, you guys know that we calculate the rates, and money is an important issue when it comes to operating the utility to make sure our rates are reasonable and fair. This is something that we focus on. Well, customers do too. Their bills matter. So whether it's because they want to conserve, because they just feel good about it, or it's because they want to lower the bill, which I kind of think that might be a big driver, they're doing it. And I feel very confident that these programs have kind of touched our customers, and that's happening today. And the results are very strong. It's in a wide variety of neighborhoods with various socioeconomic characteristics. Indian Head's a great one to point out, and it really has been working. I think we have a lot of ground still to plow with our other neighborhoods. We've done 5,000 homes, many more to go, as you just approved a contract extension to continue that program.
Could I get some information, if you will, or can we find out how many of our customers are using the less more deal? It's not an app, but using less more to determine, to follow how much electricity is costing them on a daily basis. That's I look at it almost every day. I get the notices every day, and it tells me exactly how much, and I react to that. I have reacted to that. Can we figure out how many are really?
Yes, sir. I'd be happy to.
Okay.
You're the best customer on that level. The owners of the Less company, they streamlined their name to be Less. They like you very much because you tout their product.
I'm also probably a thorn on digitality too, because they probably get a lot of my.
That is true, yes, sir. I'll just note that there's an economic impact here too, and I'd be remiss if I didn't add it. Collectively through these programs, since fiscal year 2008, we spurred approximately $140 million in local spending. And what that means is as we incent customers to go buy appliances, have work done, to participate in this new world of energy conservation, $140 million have been spent in our local community. And I think that's really important to point out because there is that economic benefit to our community. The issue at hand tonight, and then I'll move through this, the manager introduced it, is a program that is focused on our commercial customers, our largest commercial customers. It's important that we have programs for all of the variety of customers that we have, and we meet their needs. And we title it Peak Smart for Your Businesses. We had two different kinds of programs we piloted over the last couple of years. One would be load control. For example, it would control the air conditioning on this building, on large buildings like City Hall, chiller type equipment, and control it for very few hours out of the year. But when we have critical system needs, we would be able to manage that cooling. The customer would allow us to integrate into their system and do that. So it's relatively complicated, it's very surgical, and it's much with the cooperation of the customer at reducing peak demand. It's a critical element of what we do. I apologize. The other program was the distributed generation program, where we're able to turn on emergency backup generators around the community. So we see them at various stores and businesses and buildings like this one would have an emergency backup generator that we'd be able to dispatch, and that would reduce peak demand load on the system. So we tested those. We worked with our customers over the last couple of years to see if they would stick, to see if customers found value in it, and see if it works for the utility. We're at a point where we need to move forward with making them permanent or not. And what we found is the load control program has worked very well. We have 22 customers that participate. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it means a lot to our system. As you might imagine, we have some very large customers on our system that contribute significantly to the peak demand. So one customer can mean a lot of impact to our system. The equipment we would integrate with, I mentioned, like chillers or large motor industrial type equipment. There's a local recycling processor. I won't name that company, but there's a local recycling processor that has very electric intensive equipment, and they've allowed us to put some of our equipment and integrate with theirs for peak demand reduction.
Chris, let me ask you, I know, on the load control, that's where you can cut off their system if we get to a point in peak demand. You can say, hey, look, we're going to shed your load a little bit for a while so we won't have to go over our peak. On the distributed, are you telling me that you can use that to cut on their...
To turn it on, yes, sir.
To turn it on, so it's just the opposite. So
yes, sir.
I got you. Okay.
And the load control, it's more complicated and more sophisticated than just turning it on and off, because frankly that wouldn't work. We have some large retailers, as you might imagine, if you're shopping at a large retailer, big box type store. Again, I won't name names because some of them are participating. I can't simply turn the air conditioning off. That's not going to work. They will not stay in the program. So there's a pretty sophisticated process that will actually pre-cool the building and then start slowly raising the temperature back to where they might normally otherwise be, to make sure that we get across our peak, which is normally concentrated in a handful of hours in the afternoon in the summer. So it's designed to work. It's designed to keep the customers on the system, something they can live with. And we've tested that, and we feel pretty good about the results and the customer engagement and willingness to participate.
Load control customers get a discount rate?
Yes, sir. They get a discount for participating in the program.
And the distributed generators, when you turn it on, you pay them?
They get the same discount as the load control. We see the capacity is the same. Now, I need to point out the distributed generation program. We tested it, and the results are that it's not viable to move forward. During the pilot period, there was new federal rules that were issued that are more onerous to the owners of that equipment for reporting and other things that participate in programs that we're describing. So we had a large retailer with 9 backup generators, kind of as you see in the graphic on the slide, that was very promising. But as these new rules evolved, that particular customer, which was a great test customer, indicated that the rules would be too onerous for them to participate. They could participate, but they just didn't find enough value in that. So at this point, we don't think we should proceed with that program. It was a valuable lesson that we learned, but because of new circumstances, we would allow that program to sunset. However, the load control program has been quite successful. We're recommending making that permanent. Our customers have embraced it. They wish for us to make that permanent, and we have many more new prospects of customers to add in the future. Okay. That's where we find ourselves tonight, that we're seeking your approval. Of course, there's a public hearing on this matter scheduled for July 9th. But to move forward with making one of these commercial programs permanent and continuing to look for other ways for customers to save.
We don't take a vote tonight. We
Not
just
tonight.
wait.
Reese, did this go before the Citizens Advisory?
Thank you, ma'am. I should have mentioned that. We shared this like we share items like this with our Citizens Advisory Committee to get their feedback so we can share that with you. And they were very supportive of the concept. We shared it with them 2 years ago, and we've updated them since. And they're very much in support of moving forward with staff's recommendation.
Does any of this take into consideration, I don't know if it does not, net metering?
That's a completely separate issue.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Move the item.
No, we're not going to vote. This is.
Oh, sorry. We have to wait till July 9th.
We'll wait for
I'm ready
it.
to go.
All right, next item.
The next item is 13.03, State Law Enforcement Trust Fund Appropriation. And Commissioners, one of the charges given to Police Chief Michael DeLeo when he first came on board was to evaluate the policies, the practices, and the adherence to the policies and practices of the Tallahassee Police Department. And in order to evaluate some critical areas, Chief DeLeo is requesting to use trust funds to subcontract with the Police Executive Research Forum, better known as PERF, to conduct the evaluation. PERF is an independent research organization that focuses on critical issues in policing. The detailed review would cover use of force, report writing, field training programs, internal affairs, investigations, and complaint resolution, also special investigations and confidential informants. The policies, procedures, and training related to these topics will be reviewed for consistency with the national best practices and benchmarked against a variety of progressive law enforcement sources. The Chief is here to enhance what I've thrown out there and to answer any questions that you might have.
I got just one.
Yes, sir.
How is the trust fund funded?
The trust fund is not tax dollars. That's money that we've obtained through confiscations from investigations on drug dealers or other crimes.
Gotcha.
This is an unbudgeted item. It's not tax dollars.
I got you.
Have we done this recently?
Done what?
The review?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Good idea.
No.
It hasn't been done in years, apparently.
I don't recall. I was telling the Chief today, I don't recall that we've ever done it in that way. Of course, as someone pointed out to you in an email today, we do have an accreditation process, but that accreditation process does not address what we're trying to get to.
Okay. Any questions?
I'll move it.
Properly moved and
I'll
second.
second. And I wanted to read a letter into the record that we got on this, and I think you'll like this too. Dear Mayor and Commissioners, Refuge House strongly supports approval of Agenda Item 1305, State Law Enforcement Trust Fund appropriation on today's City Commission agenda. The comprehensive evaluation by the Police Executive Research Forum supported by this appropriation will be an asset to our community. The work of PERF is in developing progressive police protocols for response, investigation, and accountability for sexual assault cases is well known and nationally respected. We hope that our whole community and sexual assault victims in particular receive the benefit of PERF's expertise. Refuge House appreciates this strong positive step by our police chief and department. Thank you for your consideration. That's from Meg Baldwin from Refuge House.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very good. We have a motion to accept and a second on this matter. All in favor of acceptance, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
It passes unanimously.
Thank you for your support.
Chief.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good stuff.
Excellent.
Especially when you get it from the money from where you got it from. Next item.
1304 was moved back to consent,
Right.
so we're on 13.05, approval of construction of 2 sand volleyball courts at the food truck court.
This is interesting.
And Commissioners, as part of their ongoing efforts to enhance activity and bring more people to the downtown area, the Downtown Improvement Authority Executive Director Jay Revel recently approached the Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Affairs Department about the possibility of adding 2 sand volleyball courts to the food truck court located at the corner of Gain Street and Duval. Given the increased popularity of this growing sport and the success of the 4 sand courts at Tom Brown Park, staff feels that these courts would be heavily utilized and would bring more people both to the food truck property, creating a new and vibrant atmosphere that would tie into the energy already existing in the Gain Street and downtown areas, and as well in Cascades Park. This item is requesting your permission to construct the 2 courts. Is Jay here? Come on up, Jay. And Ashley Edwards is here as well to talk about this item.
I'll let them present it, Commissioner, and see what they got to say first.
Evening, Commissioners. Good to see you again. A few weeks ago, I had a great afternoon spending some time with your Parks and Rec staff, who are always at the cutting edge of keeping our citizens entertained. And we had come up with some strategies on how we could better engage people with the food truck court that you guys had constructed just off of Gain Street. If you go down there, typically you have a scenario where on Wednesdays we get great crowds. The Food Truck Association comes out in droves. We have lots of people, but other days of the week, no one's really going. So we were trying to come up with some creative solutions on how we could do that, and at the same time I had caught wind of some conversations that the Parks and Rec team had about the high demand they were getting for sand volleyball courts that had been constructed at Tom Brown Park. So I said, well, we've got some extra land out here. Is there a possibility where maybe we could construct some of these? It's a temporary use until we come back and potentially redevelop this block later down the road. But the staff seemed to like the idea, and they agreed that they had a high demand for the ones they were already in use. Got a great league that's already operating here. And we said, well, maybe we can come up with a creative solution here to utilize this space a little bit better and give these food trucks an added reason to come out here. We've already got a new truck that we've helped coordinate with that's down there now on a daily basis. And they're very excited about coming down there and even participating and hosting some different volleyball events throughout the summer once these get constructed. But we think it's a great opportunity. We're looking forward to promoting it and help activate that area more as we continue to march on. But with that, I'll turn it over to Ashley and let her give you a rundown. Yes.
Thank you. Mayor, Commissioners, Madam Manager, I think Jay kind of said it all, but just one point I'd like to add is that we have designed these courts so that when the property is redeveloped or sold, we'll be able to reuse most of the materials involved in constructing the court, so there will not, those items won't go to waste. And we're very excited about the project too.
Okay. Commissioner Miller.
I just wanted to ask you about water, 2 things, water and parking. And will water be supplied? Because to put folks out hot activities, it's important that they have some drinking water.
Absolutely. There'll be a water fountain on site as well as a rinse-off station so that the players, after they come out of the sand, will be able to rinse off the sand before they get back in their vehicles. And there is parking on site, adequate parking on site.
All right,
great. So they can leave that sand there, too. Okay.
That's right.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, just one more, and that is on the tree cover. I mean, one of the reasons why I think during the regular days of the week that it's a little bit challenging to kind of go out there is it's completely exposed, which is probably good if you're playing sand volleyball. Maybe not in the summertime in Tallahassee, but nonetheless, I don't know. Jay Townsend, when he was here, had some smaller ones put in, and I'm not sure if it's just a matter of time to let those grow, and I'm not sure how much time we'll have to let them grow, or if there is another set of options around some shade cover.
I've noticed when I'm out there that the food truck vendors often will bring their own tents to set up on around the picnic tables that are there. 2 of the 6 picnic tables do have umbrellas, and we can certainly look at maybe getting some more umbrellas. What we've also found in the volleyball community is they bring their own tents. They bring them to Tom Brown, and so we think, again, this will kind of create that energy, and they will start bringing some of these amenities themselves down there as well.
Right. Commissioner?
I'm just having a real disconnect between food trucks and volleyball.
Well,
I just am, and the location, and so I'm going to be voting against this. I mean, I wish the best of luck, but it just, I haven't gotten a whole ton of emails of people saying, please build us a sand volleyball court. And while we are going to be able to utilize this if we, sell that property, which I know that we started talking about because that's the Johns property, that's where the Performing Arts Center was going to be, I just can't see it, so I'm going to be voting no.
Your feeling is build it and they will come.
The sand volleyball courts are so popular. I do know that we feel very confident that folks will utilize them. We've already been approached by Leon High School. They'd be interested in having their girls sand volleyball team practice there. And the courts all over town that we have, as well as private entities have, they're just immensely popular. So I do think people would come. The hope is that it would draw more people to watch them. They'd bring friends. They'd want to eat, enjoy the food trucks, and again, just kind of enhance the energy of that site.
Yeah, Ashley, did you answer the question about parking? If you did, I missed it.
Yes, ma'am. There is adequate parking on site there.
All right.
Is that a dress code? Anybody?
I mean, I just say, I like the idea and the fact that it's another opportunity to attract people downtown to the extent that we can. So, what success to me is getting people down there and utilizing the space, outside of the Wednesdays.
Commissioner?
Just to follow up on that, I completely agree with Commissioner Gillum. And a lot of our residents live their entire lives away from our downtown. And our downtown's changed tremendously over the last 4 years since I've been in office. And I'm just really excited about it, and I want to share all that with others. And so whatever we can do to get people to travel downtown is a great idea in my book.
Let me ask this question. Playing volleyball at 12 noon in July does not seem like to me to be an ideal situation. However, saying volleyball at around 7 or 8 o'clock at night seems to me to be something that would probably be fairly ideal. So I asked that question only, are we anticipating putting any lights out there, or are there lights out there for that kind of activity?
There are not lights out there, and we do not anticipate putting lights out there, no. Again, given the temporary nature of that property or the potential development of that property, we don't feel it would be wise at this time to make that type of an investment.
All right, I'm willing. I want to see if it works. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea to give this a shot, and especially if we can salvage what we put in there, the sand and other stuff. We might not be able to salvage all of it, but certainly if we can salvage it, if it doesn't work and award that property or so. Did I hear a motion in a second?
Move the item.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All in favor of the item say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposers?
Yes.
One opposer. It passes 3-1. Thank you. You got it. Next item.
The next item is 13.06, approval of the Florida Commission for the Transportation Disadvantaged Trip and Equipment grant submission. And Commissioners, all Florida counties are required to provide transportation services for disadvantaged citizens within their respective counties. Currently, Star Metro serves as the coordinator for these transportation services for Leon County and Tallahassee. As coordinator, Star Metro ensures that older adults, persons with disabilities, low-income residents, and at-risk children are provided transportation services to employment, health care, and other life-sustaining activities. As part of the annual budget for this coordinator program, this agenda item requests approval to submit the fiscal year 2014-2015 Florida Commission for the Transportation Advantage Trip and Equipment Grant. This grant will provide $513,610 in funding for transportation services to disadvantaged citizens traveling within Tallahassee and Leon County. Andrea Rosier is here, and where is she? There she is. And she can answer any questions that you have on this item.
Move adoption.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Ooh,
Thank you, Andrea.
Very good presentation, Andrea.
All right, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, we have reports today, our Target Issue Commission updates. We have reports today from Long Range Planning and Quality of Life.
All righty, let's go.
And I believe Commissioner Miller is going to do Long Range Planning and Commissioner Ziffer, Quality of Life.
This, Commissioners, and Mayor, this is a report from our meeting on the end of May 28th, just a couple of weeks ago. And we were, of course, busy little bees at the Long Range Planning Target Issue Committee. The first discussion was in regards to the expansion of the boundaries of the Downtown Improvement Authority. You all may have remembered that a couple years ago they came forward and had some ideas about expansion, but we had a lot of questions that were really unanswered. Well, as Jay Revel has come on board, he's done a lot of work on a lot of the items that we had brought up, and has especially worked with the folks who are in the Downtown Improvement Authority area right now. So the DIA board has completely by consensus accepted the new DI proposed boundaries, and the next step will be to mail out copies of the proposed boundaries to the current folks, all the property owners in the existing DIA, requesting feedback within 30 days on what they need to, our concerns or comments on the expansion, and then DIA staff will evaluate those comments and identify any issues, and then they will bring those back to long-range plan, to the long-range target issue committee. Several of, and Jay, if you have any questions, Jay can address the ones, but several properties that are in the expansion area are state-owned, and in regards to those, this DIA staff will need to obtain a formal positive response from the state of Florida regarding the state properties proposed for inclusion in the district. Ultimately, an agenda item will come back to the LRTI committee for processing before we bring it to you. So it's going to be completely vetted by the time you get it back in front of you. The next item is related to the downtown sense of place. We received an update from Ernest McDonald in our planning department. The most part of this came up in regards to the Governor's Walk project, which is one of 8 districts that is within the downtown placemaking action plan. The staff plans to bring back a draft action plan to the Long Range Target Issue Committee in August, and they will also be presenting a wayfinding signage plan to the city, to the Target Issue Committee at the same time. So that takes care of downtown sense of place. The multimodal district, a drive-through viability study was brought to us because as business picks up and development is occurring much more commonly in the multimodal district, we've identified drive-throughs as an area of controversy where a lot of variances have to be requested. And the committee, Ms. Cherie Bryant, planning director of our planning department, came forward with an update on the progress of this particular aspect of evaluating the MMTD. The staff has met with representatives of the Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber group identified areas within the multimodal district where drive-throughs should be allowed with no design standards, and then other areas where drive-throughs should be allowed but where design standards were more appropriate. They are developing a map that shows all of this to be presented back to our Target Issue Committee in August, and so work is ongoing on that aspect of that. At some point in time, we'll come back to and bring to you several changes to the multimodal district after reviews like this are finished. Finally, we had a resurfacing program update. Gabe Menendez and Mike Shiner and Eric Hogg from the planning of the Public Works Department came and presented an overview of a new pavement management program. What they are attempting to do is to use a more methodical and analytical system for selecting different types of maintenance techniques and determining priorities and optimal timing for road repairs, and all of this is aimed at trying to accomplish maintenance of more mileage on basically the budget they have, make the dollars go farther for us so that it's not just a full-blown repaving. And that is the end of that. Oh, and our city attorney, Lou Shelley, introduced our new assistant city manager, Lonnie Ballard. Have we introduced him here at the commission meeting yet?
We did last time.
Okay, and that's all I wanted to make sure we did that. So, thank you very much.
Next. So you think that last item will resurface again? Never mind, it was a joke. Sorry.
Oh,
hey, I was paying attention, okay? I mean, I was paying attention to that. It was very interesting. We had a quality of life meeting yesterday, Commissioner Miller and I will combine a few things here. art in public places continues to come up as something that we all want to pursue. We recently were approached by a private business to donate some art or sculpture to go in Discovery at Cascades Park. And the conclusion that we came to in our target issue meeting was for Parks and Recreation Department to get with COCA representatives. Today I also met with Representative, Executive Director of FSU Master Craftsman. Perhaps the three sit down and actually develop a program of how we may be able to vet when these things come before us in the future, so that we're not treating one and having to really go in depth and analyze, and rather establish some criteria so that from the very start we know whether it's an appropriate item to at least consider or not. So we agreed that they would move forward and bring back some recommendations to the target issue group. We also had a presentation from Chris Edwards, who is our business advocate, on a South City initiative that is, the acronym is SMART, as I recall. CARES, excuse me. We have in our South City area, which is basically bordered by Monroe Street on the west, Orange Avenue on the south, Magnolia on the north. Am I getting this right? Yes.
Yes.
And Jim Lee over on the east side, where we have a fairly high crime rate. We have some other social issues, as in high infant mortality rate. We have a general lack of fresh fruits and vegetables and other food items. And so while these are not all the business of city government, there are things that we can do to try to improve the area, whether it means lighting or sidewalks and other things. And Chris did a really good job of presenting a pretty substantial report. Commissioner Miller and I were in agreement that we'd like to vet that a little bit more, but at some point in the near future, we'll want to have that presentation to the City Commission. So we'll look forward to that. There are an awful lot of things that we can do down there. Some of them are more costly than others, but what we want to do is we want to be effective, and we want to do that as quickly as we can.
Can I comment on,
yes, sir,
on this just before we start? I know the South City initiative is very, very, very important. It is significant. But I would not like for us to forget we've got other pockets of these similar kind of areas in our city that we're going to have to address. And we need to maybe have some sort of a comprehensive plan. I wish I would look at that in terms of the other pocket areas. We're focused on South City right now because of the publicity it has received and recently. But there are areas in Bond. There's an area in Bond. There's an area in it's not Frenchtown, as well as near Frenchtown, in the Alabama Street area in Frenchtown, that have some similar problems. So I want us to focus on South City. I think it's really something we need to do, but I don't want us to focus on it to the neglect of some other areas that we have some problems with in those two areas. And I was working with Chief Cole and former chief on that, and I would ask them to give me an update on those, to give me an update at least on those other areas. The other thing is that I had a very good briefing today on an initiative by a religious group, a church group, that they want to use the old kids. What's that building on Laurel Avenue?
Boys and Girls Club.
Boys and Girls Club. They want to use the Boys and Girls Club for probably a private school, which is near the South City. That is near the South City area. So that's something that we might want to look at. I think we can really help them. It's a small amount of a zoning issue, and that could be something that maybe you all could look at in terms of what you might be doing with the South City initiative. Okay?
Yeah, I think, Mr. Mayor, I think one of the things that we realized in the report spoke of, and that is we really need to get in. If we're going to help these neighborhoods, we have to get in the neighborhood. And I started to read that also on the potential school opportunity. And whereas it's close, it's not actually in. So we still have to go into the neighborhoods. If you recall the Renaissance Partnership, where we started down in Appalachia Ridge and then we went out to Providence and a few others, I think that's probably a similar situation here. In other words, we developed some initiatives that hopefully will be successful that then we can take into other areas. This particular area, and while yes, there's been significant publicity lately, really has some significant problems, as do others. So I don't think anything is being neglected.
No, I just want to make sure, because it is not, those two areas. in my experience with those two areas was with some families that came to see me directly about what's going on there. And I'm for don't get me wrong, I think the South City initiative is very, very important, but I don't want us to lose sight that we have a couple of other areas that are equally, some equally significant problems in South City. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
We have a news conference next Tuesday at the Hope Community regarding the Change for Change effort. Rather than say what that is, because then there would be no reason to have the event, we'll just say that very, very good things have happened with the program, and we want to announce that will hopefully lead to potentially more milestones in the future. So having said that, that's my report. Yes, sir.
Anybody else?
Well, I mean, I want to lift up the work that the committee is doing, and also lift up Chris and the really, I think, excellent proposal and plan that they put together around South City, because I agree with you, when unless we can focus almost pin-like focus on an area that based off the statistics, when you look at economic issues, economic depression, lack of job opportunity, high infant mortality rate, educational disadvantagement from the standpoint of more than 99% of students in the area being dependent on free or reduced lunch. All the red hotspots that we can think of, South City is at the top of the radar on. And so if you can go into the belly of these problems and show and demonstrate the ability for a turnaround opportunity, I think we want to do that. And what I like most about the manager's guidance on this is it's been extremely persistent. I think you've probably been down 3 times for different events. There's one this weekend that's coming up. But the persistent barrage of positive attention and focus on that area, I think, has been to our benefit. And I think we cannot in any way, shape, or form let up or ease up on the intensity of the focus there, because I think it will take time. It didn't take a year or even a couple of months for us to fall into this position, and it will take substantially more, I think, to help dig our way out of it. So kudos to the committee and specifically to the staff that have been tasked with working on this South City reinvestment, redevelopment focus. I think they appreciate it, and I think the community will be better off once we've seen and moved the marker in a positive direction.
And Commissioner, you actually reminded me of something that wasn't in my report, but it's clearly something that an organization that has been extremely helpful, and that is Whole Child Leon, has been an amazing partner in that area, and I think results are already beginning to show. I don't think any of us want to feel any rejoice in those results, but they're clearly the arrow can be moved. And the line can be moved. And yes, again, I'd like to thank the city manager, because your focus on this has been really quite overwhelming, and staff's focus is a mirror of that. So thank you for all your hard work on this. That's it.
Very good.
Anything else?
Unagenda speakers.
Mayor, we have 2 speakers tonight. The first is Peter Wood, followed by Harry Brown. I'll ask speakers to come to the microphone here, and you'll have 3 minutes for your remarks. There will be a light to your left that begins green, and then will turn yellow with 30 seconds remaining, and red when your time has expired.
Hi, I'm Peter Wood. I'd like to bring an issue.
I'm sorry, I did forget one other thing. Would you give your name and address for the record?
Okay. Peter Wood, 2222 Woodlawn Drive. I'd like to bring an issue that has come to public view, and as far as I know, it hasn't been addressed in Tallahassee. But if it has, I just want to add my voice to the conversation. Now, I'd like to call for a separation of church and state in the city commission meetings of Tallahassee, to stop conducting invocation with a prayer to solely the Christian deity. Now, obviously, there's a Greece-Galloway U.S. Supreme Court ruling in the month of May, and many citizens have expressed concern over this issue, some more politely than others. Now, I'm not angry. I don't want to start a fight. I'm not even offended by a few small words. But this issue is important to me and to a lot of other people that aren't here today. Now, I'm not asking for Buddha or Allah or the flying spaghetti monster to instead become the preferred recipient of city-led prayer, although I do hope someday you're all lucky enough to be touched by his benevolent noodle. What I'm asking this commission to do is to set precedent through either of two options. One, demonstrate full inclusion of belief systems by praying to all known gods and goddesses every invocation. This list would include, but is not limited to, Jesus, Yahweh, Zoroaster, Aphrodite, Neptune, the 1996 U.S. women's gymnastics team, Lucifer, and Arnold from the Nickelodeon program Hey Arnold. Either adopt this practice or take a second route, which is to simply drop the issue and keep City Hall separate from our private faiths, in adherence with this country's founding principles. You may say, as I already have, that these are just a few small words. Why cause such a fuss over just a few small words? While the words themselves are small, the privilege for a specific segment of society to have such language almost automatically instilled in public discourse is the kind of privilege that leads to a divided society. Is this one small change crucial? By itself, no. But as a larger reflection of who we are, absolutely. Prayer can be beautiful, but so can fairness. These states were founded as secular entities for a reason. The freedom of or from religion is a core tenet of the city of Tallahassee, the state of Florida, and the United States of America. I hope you take the chance to reaffirm to your constituents that this freedom is important to you as well. Theism can be wonderfully powerful, moving people to help the poor, console the lonely, defend the weak. But like any system, it can be applied in a negative manner. When I think of church-state interaction, I think of "In God We Trust" being implanted on currency so as to fearmonger during the Cold War. When I think of church-state separation, I think of an efficient, respectful, and respected public sector. The city of Tallahassee has an opportunity to demonstrate its central ambition, to serve the people of this remarkable city as constituents and not as religious subjects. Thank you.
Were you here at the beginning of the meeting
Excuse me?
commission? Were you here at the very beginning?
I was.
You were?
Yes.
Did you hear what the city manager said when she did an invocation?
Yes, I did.
What do you recall?
Dear God, I don't remember the specific context.
Did you hear her say that if you want to participate, you can?
No, I understand that. That's not exactly what I'm drawing attention to. It's not so much that I want to be picking whoever happens to be in the room. I think that it's either full participation or total separation. No. And obviously, there have been cases in the Supreme Court that have addressed this. I'm not trying to challenge the law. I'm just trying to bring attention to an opportunity for Tallahassee to be a catalyst.
So you're not challenging the law, which allows us to do exactly what we did tonight?
No, of course. I'm just saying that there's an opportunity at hand, and I think that Tallahassee should really take it by the reins before, maybe other people will be a little bit less polite, as I already mentioned.
You didn't perceive that there was a particular deity or God or whatever that was addressed during that invocation, did you?
Yeah, I mean, maybe today was a poor example. In the past, it has been a little bit more specific. But, I mean, regardless, there are people that don't have deities, and I feel that it's very difficult to represent them when you're addressing a deity. It's just kind of inherently self-contradictory, and I think it's an easier path to just make it a non-issue. Like I said, I'm not looking for a fight. I just think it's an opportunity.
I don't think anybody's looking for a fight. That's the last thing we're looking for. We're trying to be sensitive to everybody, including those who believe that, well, yeah, we can say something, but we are abiding by the Constitution that separates church and state and the establishment of a religion. I think what we are doing is very, very much consistent with the Constitution of the United States, and that's what we want to do. I think it is. Is there?
Mayor, Commissioners, we had an opportunity in the last year to look at this issue, and rest assured that we'll continue to look at any court cases that deal with this issue. I think all of you, and certainly all of us in the City Attorney's Office, are very sensitive to religious freedom and separation of church and state. Am convinced that the way we do the opening invocation now is fully protected by the court decisions, and it doesn't mean that something else might come along or we might decide there's a different or better way to do it, but having looked at this issue specifically within the last year, I'm very comfortable that the way the manager is currently doing it is appropriate and is fully lawful.
Thank you. I guess I'll politely disagree.
Well, thank you for coming and expressing your opinion.
Thank you for expressing your feelings. Thank you. Next.
Next speaker is Harry Brown.
Good evening. I'm Harry Brown. I reside at 5431 Crump Road, Tallahassee, 32309. I come with great concern regarding the gross mistreatment of city employees. Favors you had Lily and Dot lie for you in an effort to cover up for Maddox in an affidavit. That is dirty and sleazy. You two show no love for anyone. You did not show any love for your own son when he had to face the judge alone when he was sentenced to 7 years in prison. I was the only person in the courtroom that looked like your son. There was no mom or dad there to support him. I shared his pain. So how can anyone expect you to show any love to anyone in a city where you have no ties? You have helped create an institution of evil. Dr. King said, when you create evil, you become a slave to it, quote unquote. You have been slaving for Maddox since he arrived in 1995. Firstly, you got rid of the OMB director. Secondly, the city comptroller, and countless others, all under the auspices of Maddox. You have been doing some serious Uncle Tomming for nearly 20 years. Last 15 years was spent Tomming for Tom Coe and Maddox, while you have done a lot of rubber stamping, all under your discretionary powers. By the way, Favors, discretionary means to be done with prudence, not with reckless abandon. You hired a young lawyer, Carolyn Colson, and asked her to take on the task of getting rid of me. She told you she could not do that because we were like family. You are a very treacherous and villainous woman. You had to resort to lies and trashing my impeccable work history. My attorney said you and Sharon tried to make me look like a sexual predator with all the lies and sexual innuendos. Don't you know, in all creation, nothing is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of him who we must give account. Hebrews 4:13. You are paid well for your dirty work, $260,000 for such small city. Did you not notice Scott shows no respect for you? He wanted to put his hat in the hopper to be your paramour. He would not have made that statement in reference to Miller. Not even he can show respect for anyone as dirty as you. You created this monster, so live with it.
That's very loud.
Excuse me, your time's expired.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
You know, I usually don't, because we hear these things week after week, and maybe it is, my sensitivity to just bringing home my two children. It could be my sensitivity to the fact that my mother just lost one of her children, my brother. But I think the comments with regard to questioning a mother's love for her child is far beyond the pale. And we've asked week after week that when you come here, you make your comments as constructive as possible and that you avoid personal attacks on individuals. It is a clear demonstration of your lack of character. The fact that you can come here again week after week, and I want to take issue with not only your comments to the manager, but to Commissioner Maddox and his absence and you all's continuous attack even on his own personal family. There's a way for you to make your statements, your comments, all of which I disagree with and take umbrage and real issue with, but normally I remain silent. But your comments, again, questioning the city manager and her relationship with her son, her love for her child, is, I think, beyond the pale. And I don't need you to approach the dais. I don't plan on getting into that kind of a discourse with you. I just want to say that in the future, I would hope that as you make all of your comments, whether they be true, false, or in between, that you try very, very hard to stay out of the realm of people's personal lives, bringing their children into a situation. And that you want to address us one-on-one or in the comfort of a parking lot or outside, that's totally fine. But again, try to leave people's families out of it. That's what I would appreciate from you, Mr. Brown. I don't know you from Adam. I don't have a relationship with you. I wasn't here in this government when you worked here. Don't take issue with that. I just take issue with you bringing people's families into this situation. So if you could respect that, I could respect your right to stand up here and make your comments. As my grandmother said growing up, you had your time, and now I have mine. Okay. I appreciate it. Again, we don't have to do this. I just want to at least let it be reflected that there's a line that you can respect just as I can respect the line that you have to toe. That's it. That's it.
Say something. Go ahead.
That's it.
Could we have this?
Would you please?
If I could,
would you please?
Sir, excuse me. You have had your 3 minutes, and you were guaranteed your 3 minutes, and you received your 3 minutes, and you did not provide the same respect for Commissioner Gillum that he allotted you. And we have sat here for months for you delivering your 3 minutes, and we have sat through it, and I will continue to sit through that. But today, excuse me, today. It's not right, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, does anybody have anything else to discuss? Because otherwise, I'm.
Wait a minute. I just want to say one thing. We have a civility code that we put up. Where's that sign that we have? Is it up on the desk?
I don't think.
No. Obviously, this gentleman ignored it completely. Absolutely completely. And so we need to make sure we put that in a prominent place so at least they will see it. If they don't abide by it, people will know that we want to conduct our meetings in a civil manner. And freedom of speech, we want everybody to have freedom of speech, but we truly believe that in a forum such as this, civility also should be a part of that freedom of speech. And tonight, we didn't have that. So, anything else?
Mayor, I'd appreciate it if you would, when something like this occurs, I'd appreciate it if at some point we would have the bailiff escort the person out, because, and I think I haven't really said a whole lot about this, but I believe it's time to point out that it was not because of Dr. Jackson that the what's called the kill switch was put in. It was because of Mr. Brown, because the first time that he came here, he became very emotional at the dais. I was the closest to him, and I felt I was going over the security procedures in my mind. I was concerned, and I remain concerned. I won't meet with him because I don't feel comfortable with him. But at some point, when someone comes up and makes remarks like this, and then continues to go on, that we really need to move forward with our meeting. I have complaints from the folks. What I hear is that people don't want to hear it. I've got people asking me when we're going to use the kill switch. I hear people saying, what are you going to do about it also? But I believe that we have a 3-minute rule. I believe that we should offer anybody the opportunity to say virtually anything they want during that 3 minutes, but then that's over. And I would like to know at some point exactly how low this conversation is going to get. So whether we have staff discuss it or what, but whether it becomes, maybe we need to have a community discussion on it. Just felt the need to say that the level of the conversation is getting lower and lower every week. So
I don't think it was a conversation. That's what I think. But, you know.
We're on sharing of ideas, Mr. Mayor.
Can I share this?
Yes.
Can I?
Go ahead.
I'm not,
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner.
Spay and neuter. Haven't said it in a while, but no, based upon the numbers that we're getting, we have been very successful in that, but we still have a far, far longer way to go. I also want to thank, is Linda Hudson here? There she is. Linda, I want to thank you. We had the lung walk last weekend, or yes, I think. And Ziffer Zombies came out in force. We had a number of people there, and quite frankly, the lung walk raised more money than they ever have before, and they had more walkers than they've ever had before. It was the first organized walk at Cascades Park, but Linda Hudson outdid herself because not only did she come fully dressed like a zombie, she is also well-versed and is extremely knowledgeable in zombie facts, as is our Commissioner Miller. And quite frankly, I was amazed that they knew that much. Thank you very much, Linda, for coming and being so supportive.
I would like to add just one thing too.
Go right ahead, Commissioner.
And it was quite an honor to be a member of the zombie team. But what I wanted to do was today, right now, was to recognize the manager and our staff who put together the most absolutely delightful tea for Dr. Elmira Mangum from FSU. I think, wrong, from Florida A&M University. It was at Oven Park last Thursday, and was just absolutely very pleasant, a beautiful evening. I think that she got that warm Southern welcome that we had hoped to give her, and so I just wanted to recognize you for that and say thank you to you and the staff for putting that together.
I want to comment on that. It truly was a very, very good experience to just get a chance to be with the new president of Florida A&M University, Dr. Mangum, and it was really a very good afternoon. There were only about 5 or 6 men there, by the way.
Did you mention Commission on Status of Women?
Yes, this was in partnership with the Commission on the Status of Women, and all of the women that are on that commission attended, and they are very, very accomplished women, ranging in age from 22 on up, various backgrounds and experiences, and I believe that it was a wonderful group to put a nice face on our community.
There was another event at Oven Park last week, and that was the Council on Neighborhood Association.
This week.
Gave out there.
That was last night.
That was last night? Wow.
It was.
Well, again, that was another event at Oven Park last night. It was really a wonderful event. I mean, we gave out the Neighborhoods of the Year's Award, and maybe we ought to make sure we post that someplace so people will know. And it was really good, very well done. And it's really a good thing to go out there and see how our neighborhoods are really putting themselves together. Anything else?
No.
We stand adjourned.
Store. Most of them have collection bins outside the front of their store, and these type of bags can be recycled there. Some other items, if you've got fabric goods, a lot of times they can be donated to organizations that recycle these, but this type of fabric material really doesn't get recycled.